Toys not yet inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame. What does that even mean? Toys not yet inducted to the Toy Hall of Fame. Should be in already. Deserves it at some point. What do you mean deserves it at some point? Like it has to work harder until then? Why is one of them just a gun? Worth nomination at least. Outside chance. No business in the Hall of Fame. Well, I kind of like the guy's I like the guy's ranking system, to be honest. Do I even know what all of these things are? So these, I know, Beanie Babies, baseball glove, straight up a gun. straight up a gun. There are the Cabbage Patch Kids, pogo stick, remote control car. Is that Bop It? No, that's the Simon Says game. Optimus Prime. That thing, that rolling ball thing. What is this? Is that like, not moon sand, the other one. The one that you wet, like you make with like the different like colored beads, and then you wet them and they stick together and they stay stuck together and you make bead art out of them. A tea set, My Little Pony, a Nerf gun, a scooter, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, Pac-Man or Pac-Woman, toy truck, Operation. Is this not just pots and pans? Like, is this not just a picture of like a child with pots and pans? I don't understand this one. Slip and Slide, Battleship, Playmobil, I guess. A spinning top, bubble wrap, Care Bears, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Pez dispenser. A Pez dispenser isn't a toy. A Pez Splash Woman. Yeah, that's what it is. A Pez dispenser is just like a food item. Plastic food, Snakes and Ladders, He-Man. What is this? Oh, Jamaica's got a bobsled team. Noughts and Crosses isn't a toy. It's literally a pen and paper. And what is this one? Is that not like football crazy, chocolate mad, grab a power ball and play football with the lads? Is that thing? The thing where you get like the ball of chocolate and then there's like a little soccer player inside it on like on a I don't know what to say, like a half sphere, and then you play it somehow. Is that not what that is? Is this a phone? Is that just straight up a phone? Bingo. That's also not a toy. That's just a game. Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. What is... I've never played, sorry. Tamagotchi, Yahtzee, I've also never played. Snooker is also not a toy. It's a... Yeah, Sabushio! Ah, Sabushio. Sudio. Is this Mahjong is also... I wouldn't class Mahjong... Well, I suppose... I wouldn't... I don't know. Like, what is a toy? This is bringing up all these, like, philosophical questions. Sorry is Ludo? When I play Ludo, I never say sorry. I say, get your fucking... Fuck you back to the fucking start of the game. I never apologize in Ludo. Isn't Frustration also Ludo, though? Do you remember Frustration is the one that we used to have in school for rainy days, where the dice is inside, and like the dice are inside in a little plastic dome in the middle, so they can't get lost. And then you push the dome in the middle, and it like hops up and rolls the dice for you. Is that not also just Ludo, but the dice are encased inside in this plastic dome, if I remember correctly? The Pinata. Yeah, the Dice Dome. I'm pretty sure that game, if I remember correctly, is like, it's called Frustration, but I'm pretty sure it's just Ludo, but with the dice inside in a dome, Catan, and a fire truck. Well, seeing as I don't know what the Toy Hall of Fame is, then I think that I am the perfect person to decide this, because I am the definition of a perfectly objective layman judging which toy belongs in the Hall of Fame. So I'll just start here. He-Man should be in the Hall of Fame already. And this is my rationale. He-Man, whether you know this or not, whether you accept this or not, He-Man started out life as a toy. The entire He-Man empire that you know of today would not exist were it not for the original toy He-Man. This original action figure, He-Man, also the Masters of the Universe, is like birthed an entire franchise empire which has had an enormous cultural impact on the globe as we know it, and continues to do so today. And that is why He-Man, if he's not in whatever the Strong Museum's Toy Hall of Fame, if He-Man is not already in there, he should be in there. And that just goes, that doesn't even deserve to be argued about. I don't know what this thing is, and ergo it does not have any business in the Hall of Fame. Sorry is a completely different game. Then neither of us knows what it is, and therefore it should not be in the Hall of Fame. If it's not culturally significant enough for us to know what the fuck it is, then it does not belong in the Toy Hall of Fame. So we're going to get a little bit... also, Noughts and Crosses is not a toy. Noughts and Crosses is a game that you play without a toy, you know? And I think this is where we're going to get into trouble here, right? Because we have to end up having to decide what is a toy and what is a game, you know? Just like soccer isn't a toy, or hockey isn't a toy. Hockey is a game. Would you call chess a toy? If you say chess is not a toy, then therefore you have to, by the same logic, you would have to say Mahjong is also not a toy. Mahjong is a game. And snooker is also not a toy, or billiards or whatever, is also not a toy. It's a game. So just because you derive enjoyment out of it and there's a certain element of play involved does not automatically mean it is a toy. But I do think that this definitely depends on your own perspective of what defines what a toy is or not, you know? Because then we get into difficult territory, because if we make the kind of decision that Mahjong isn't a toy, Mahjong is a game, then where do we stand on Snakes and Ladders? Or where do we stand on Battleship? Do we say that they are not a toy? Do we say that they are a toy? I don't know. And what do we base that decision on? So I think because for Noughts and Crosses it's literally just a pen and paper, I don't think that should be a toy. I think it's literally like a game like hopscotch. Like hopscotch also isn't a toy, it is a game. But I think everything else here, except maybe the Pez dispenser, like, no. Everything else here, we should categorize, except snooker, that's also not a toy. Everything else here, we should give at least a chance. We shouldn't just exclude it outright purely because it's a game, and it exists in this gray area between what is a toy and what is a game or whatever, because otherwise you'll never stop. Similarly with the scooter and where's the Jamaican bobsled team gone? They were here somewhere. Here, the sled. Similarly, you could argue, well, that's not a toy, that's a means of transportation. It's like, yes, but where do you start with that and where do you end? Is the hoverboard then a toy? Well, yes. It's like, well, no, it's also a means of transportation. Are Heelys a toy or are they a shoe? I'm glad that they're not here in this list because that's a very controversial discussion, and a divisive one. I'm not willing to enter into at this point. You know. Anyway, the Beanie Babies. I think Beanie Babies are worth a nomination at least. Culturally significant, but what can you do with them? I think they're more of a collection vehicle than they are a toy, because I don't think anyone ever plays with Beanie Babies. And I think at least our definition of a toy should involve some degree of play or some degree of amusement. And I don't think Beanie Babies really are something that you play with. They're something that you buy and collect and enjoy and have sitting in some sort of macrame hammock over your bed in a girl's bedroom in 1998 or whatever. You know, they're not something that you sit down and play with, you know. So I think they're worth a nomination at least because they are a stuffed animal, but I don't think they don't even have the same lasting impact as He-Man. Do Beanie Babies have TV programs that are still airing and new TV programs being made all of the time? No. Do TV programs have every gay man from the age of 50 down still talking about it? No. Then no, it's not as significant as He-Man, therefore it's not in the Hall of Fame. But I think it deserves a nomination, and then let's let the jury decide, right? My Little Pony, for the same reason as He-Man, should be in the Hall of Fame already. My Little Pony deserves to be there as an extremely culturally significant toy whose impact on society and culture echoes through the ages, through to today, and beyond. Who isn't always talking about He-Man? He-Man comes up in discussion all the time. So... baseball glove, here's another one of those arguments. Is it a sporting item or is it a toy? I think that the baseball glove, it's also, I have an outsider's perspective. I've never even seen a baseball glove in real life. They don't exist over here. I think that it probably deserves it at some point. I don't know. The, let's do some of these like down kind of outside chance ones. What is this? Like, is this literally just Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron? I'm gonna toy horse. I'll put it outside chance. Depending on what the lobby groups, where the lobbying groups put their money and how much they're willing to invest. You know, this thing. Yeah, I think it's this at some point. What is this ever going to do to elevate itself to the point where it should be in the Hall of Fame? Because if after the award season you don't give this thing, whatever it's called, an award, it's going to be like, well, what do I have to do to get into the Hall of Fame? And you're going to stand there going, well, I don't know. What else can this thing do to elevate itself above the level it is already at, in order to enter the prestigious Strong Museum's Toy Hall of Fame? I don't know. I think it probably does deserve it at some point. I've never seen one of these things in real life. I've seen them in Rugrats, but otherwise I've never seen one in real life. Pots and pans. Is that literally just what it is? That is an infant. That is an infant on the floor of what appears to be a kitchen with some orange cups, the likes of which you would see at any college party, and also sitting amongst several saucepans, and I think I see a frying pan of the non-stick variety, wielding a wooden spoon. I think no. We don't put the pots and pans in the Hall of Fame. Who plays with pots and pans? This child. That woman in the video where she says, I didn't get no sleep cause of y'all not gonna get no sleep cause of me. Her? No, they don't deserve, they have no business in my Hall of Fame. In the Strong Museum. So, where do we go next? Remote control car, yeah. I don't think remote control cars are very culturally significant at the moment. I can't remember the last time I saw someone playing with a remote control car. And I think that's what the deciding factor is like how kind of relevant are they across the ravages of time or whatever, you know? And the remote control car, when you think about it, since when has it existed and how long was it significant? I don't think for a very long time in the grand scheme of things. When you compare it to something like this, the spinning top has entertained humanity for thousands of years. I literally am flabbergasted that the spinning top is not already in whatever cockamamie toy hall of fame this is, because the spinning top has been played with by all ages for in all known cultures as far as I can ascertain for millennia, you know, and even to this day, on Christmas Day, when we pull the cracker at the dinner table and we put on the crown and we tell the shitty joke, and there's a little wooden spin, like small little plastic and or wooden spinning top, depending on whether you bought your Christmas crackers in Tesco or Marks and Spencer, there will be somebody at the table who plays with that. Regardless of whether they're 5, 25, or 85, someone will play with that thing. And it will still be like that in 50 years and 100 years. Someone, if we still exist, someone will be playing with one of these small spinning toys. You know, they are just amusing. And for that reason, I cannot believe that whatever vaunted Toy Hall of Fame this does not yet include the spinning top. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's a travesty. It just does not make sense in this day and age, you know? So fuck you, Beanie Baby. Come back in another 1,000 years if you're still relevant, you know? Then maybe you stand a shot against the spinning top. What else have we got here? Care Bears. Care Bears. It's a tough one. Again, I think the Care Bears are something which does not I think the Care Bears do not have the same lasting power. They're like the ugly stepsister of My Little Pony, right? You know, the Care Bears, they had their time in the sun, similar to the Cabbage Patch Kids here. I'm going to put them next door, right? Similar to the Cabbage Patch Kids, the Care Bears and the Cabbage Patch Kids had their time in the sun. They were the toy everybody wanted. There were the TV programs and everything, you know. But who cares about them now? Who cares about them now? And who will ever care about them again? You know, I don't know. So that they're like the ugly stepsisters of My Little Pony. I think they're worth a nomination at least, but I don't think they have lasting cultural significance. And I don't, if one of you motherfuckers here, the blue one, the pink one, the purple one, if one of you wants to argue with me about it, step up. Come on, Mike. I'm ready. What else have we got here? So I'm after doing something dangerous here, which is that I've classed the pots and pans as not deserving being in the Hall of Fame, which leaves us in a difficult situation with the bubble wrap. Because similar to the pots and pans, bubble wrap is something which has a utilitarian purpose. It has a defined role in our society, which is to protect things which are being shipped or packed or stored or brought from one place to another, and where we have a fear that they may become broken during over time or during the process of movement, right? However, it is also something that some people derive an awful lot of amusement from, you know. But I think in order to be fair to the pots and pans, I'm going to side with you as well, Conan. If we decide that the pots and pans, even though you can have fun with them, are not a toy, then we have to stand by our morals and our decision, and also fall on the side of bubble wrap not being a toy, despite the fact that one may derive pleasure from it. There are lots of things that people can get pleasure and enjoyment from which do not belong on this list. There are very many things. People have tried a lot of stuff with a lot of different things. People have engaged in a lot of acts with a lot of different material objects. That does not make them a toy for the purpose of this tier list. Okay? so, so, where are we now? The Tamagotchi is a very... So, Tamagotchi is almost like the... So Tamagotchi is an interesting one because similar to the Care Bears and the Cabbage Patch Kids, the Tamagotchi had its time in the sun. It was a fad item. It was the toy everyone wanted. I myself had two in the year of 1997, and everybody wanted one. They are no longer significant themselves, right? The Tamagotchi. However, I believe that the Tamagotchi is the godfather of certainly most, if not every other pet simulation experience we have to this day. I think without somebody discovering that people could derive enjoyment from the Tamagotchi, we would not have had the Chow Garden significantly. We would not have had the Chow Garden in Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2. We would not have Fishman for the Dreamcast. We would not have all of the animal mechanics in games that came down the road. We would not have all of the plant care simulators. We would not have Nintendo dogs or Nintendo cats. We would not have any of those things. Well, maybe we would, but I definitely think that the Tamagotchi is the godfather of them all, and I don't think we would have them. And for that reason, I think it's important that we recognize that even though Tamagotchi was like a spark at the time that captured the public interest and the zeitgeist or whatever, and now it's not as significant itself, I definitely think it deserves to be there at some point, right? Maybe not. It's not as clear a winner as the ones above, but yes, exactly. Digimon would not exist. I had a Digimon Tamagotchi, and there was all like the other ones, at the same time. I had a Digimon one and I had a Jurassic Park one as well. I think all of this other stuff that has come afterwards, that the Tamagotchi is important for it, because it there wasn't really very much before that like, I think you had things like, obviously you had like simulators like, Sim Ant or like Harvest Moon and stuff like that, which had some elements that Tamagotchi had, but not in the same way, you know. And that's why I think, even though it's not as surefire a winner as these three up here, it definitely deserves, for its cultural impact and inspiration from that time onwards. It definitely deserves to be there at some point. Toy food, it's toy food. It's the same as a toy horse. It's just a thing that exists in real life in a toy version. Tea set, same thing. It's a thing that exists in real life in a toy version, you know? Like, these are all the same. It's like if you let one of these in, you let a toy everything in. What's the difference between a toy horse and a toy cat? What's the difference between a toy food and a toy car? You know? Like, I don't, whatever, you know, that's where I stand on these ones. It's like, yes, they're toys. Yes, there are lots of kids that like the toy horse or the toy teapot, you know. But what makes them better than toy anything else? Come back to me when you have an answer. This, it's a toy, whatever. I don't care about the Sudio or the whatever Powerball or whatever it's called. And I think it's like completely insignificant to the world at large unless you're like a soccer child. And for that reason, I'm like, outside chance. Let me see here. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Is the He-Man precedent going to apply here? I'm not sure. This might end up going to the Supreme Court to see whether the He-Man precedent applies or not. I'm actually going to leave that for now. Toy fire truck, same, outside chance. What's the difference between this and the other one here, other toy truck? I don't see the difference between these two. Toy fire, one, you've seen one toy truck, you've seen them all. What else are we going to look at here? Mahjong. Like, Mahjong is, as a game, like, I think in the West, it's known that there are certain people that play it. It has a following or whatever. In the East, like, this is like a cultural, like an enormous cultural foundation stone, you know. It's a really important, significant game. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that and Snakes and Ladders and Battleship, because they all kind of exist in the same space, I think, you know, in terms of being a game that everybody knows within the society that you're in or whatever. So they definitely deserve it at some point. I'm also just realizing that My Little Pony is more important than Snakes and Ladders in a global toy environment. This, outside chance, whatever, piece of plastic on the ground, water, the end. This, is this what that is? Is this that thing that people make bead art out of and then sell on Etsy for like £100 or something? Is that what this is? As far as I know, it's like something like that. I'm gonna say whatever. No business in the Hall of Fame. Again, like, when is it a toy and when is it a craft item? You know, like, that's the same as the like an art item or whatever. Does that mean like a paintbrush is also a toy all of a sudden? Does that mean like does that mean that like knitting is also a toy? I don't think so. So no business in the Hall of Fame. You're out. Out, am I? Is this just like straight up a phone? I think that just goes next to straight up a gun, and I'll deal with that later. Optimus Prime, Transformers, is the He-Man precedent going to apply here? I'm gonna put you down with the turtles for later consideration. Catan. I don't think Catan, like, I think that's where I'm really getting to the point where I'm like, not a toy, you know. I think Catan is like entering into the chess territory, almost. I'm going to say outside chance. I don't think it's as broadly significant as snakes and ladders, so I think it goes into outside chance, to be honest. Same with Yahtzee. I'm like, I don't think it's as broadly significant as a toy, as Battleship, Mahjong, or Snakes and Ladders. Even Operation, I'm going to put it in worth a nomination at least. I think Operation is a good middle of the road because it's a novel concept. The thing where you like try to pick the clock out of his chest or whatever, and it buzzes if you touch the thing. Yeah, let's try and see if we can get it figured out. Just hop on whenever you can. We won't be able to get anybody else in the audience to see whether it's working or not. Um, but but we'll see. The where am I at now? Maybe after this I'll go down and get a drink and then we can do the next tier list together. The scooter and the sled I think belong together as well. Bingo. Do you know what? I think bingo as a toy, it's a weird one. Look, I think if we have Mahjong up and deserves it at one point, then we have to put bingo in there for the same reason. The Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I'm going to put them with the Care Bears. That's where they belong. Worst nomination to keep them happy, but we all know they're never going to get in there. The Pogo Stick, I think your Care Bear tier as well. I think you're a well-known toy. But I don't think that you're really 100% important, at least not anymore, Where are we at now? Playmobil. It's like really, Playmobil isn't that just like knockoff Lego for 2-year-olds? It's not even Duplo, so like outside chance. I don't get the relevance of you. The Nerf gun. I think the Nerf gun is quite, like, I'm going to put it here and worth the nomination at least, because the Nerf gun is something that has existed and continues to exist. It's enjoyed by people of all, not maybe of all ages, but of a wide age demographic, from kids up through like adulthood. So I think the oh, does it? Playmobil has a movie? Interesting. The so I think the Nerf gun definitely deserves a nomination. This thing, like, no, like outside chance. Like, you are not as important as Bop It, and I don't think Bop It is even really that culturally significant, so therefore you're really kind of bottom of the barrel. You barely get a ticket to watch the ceremony, let alone be nominated. Pac-Man, Splash Woman. Again, so Pac-Man's a tough one because Pac-Man is an iconic game, right? But what has Pac-Man influenced afterwards? There's a lot of argument to be had there. If it wasn't Pac-Man, then it was going to be another game. Like, you can argue the same thing about Pac-Man and Pong, I guess. I think Pac-Man probably deserves to be in there at some point, but I think it's very easy to look really historically amazing in an era like when there was so little competition at the time, I guess. However, what I will say about Pac-Man is that Pac-Man has a lot more survivability and lasting power than a lot of the games that came out when Pac-Man was out. Like, you can still play Pac-Man now, and you can get a 5-year-old playing Pac-Man and they'll just sit right down and play it, and enjoy it as well. So I think Pac-Man is, for that reason, do you know what, I'm going to bump you up, now having argued with myself. I think Pac-Man, we are just at the start of your lifespan, Like, Pac-Man, you are the video game, like Pac-Man and Snake and Tetris, I think those three are the video game equivalent of the spinning top. Just like the spinning top has been on Earth for thousands of years, like I think Pac-Man, Tetris, What was the other one that I said? Snake. They're the video game equivalent of that. Like all the other ones as well, like Pong, Brick Breaker, or whatever. They're like the video game equivalent of the spinning top. They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. The world's gonna know their name. Where are we at now? I'm like, these are the ones where I get like tough. I think the pinata. The pinata is like similar to me for to these other like regionally and now globally. So they're regionally significant games which have ignited global appeal. You know, so and the pinata again. Everyone can have fun with this thing. You know, it's I think it's just a great concept that has global appeal, and I think the piñata will always exist. So the piñata needs to be there. The gun, this is like, what is this doing here? It's just like straight up a gun. It's what kind of message will I be sent? Joe, I'm going to put it down here right for now. Because, like, what kind of message would I be sending if I'm like, outside chance that a gun deserves to be in the Toy Hall of Fame? Someone will go, like, shoot up a toy master or something, and then they'll check his internet history and find that he watched my stream, and they'll be like, on Fox News saying, the shooter who massacred 700 people in a local toy master, or Toys R Us or whatever, was found to have spent the night before watching streamer Rock Paper Mario exalt the gun as something which deserves to be inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame. We ask ourselves, what is society coming to when the media producers, our children, and influential young people consume and listen to will subject them to such outright outrageous opinions? Yeah. He invites the Joker onto the toy show and he just shoots him. He'll be like, what were you playing with? What did we give you to play with? Oh, a pistol. Does it work? Oh, God. It's too bad. It's too bad. We're crossing lines and it feels good. Where are we going next? The sled. I think the sled deserves to be there in there at some point. The scooter. The scooter is a tough one, right? Because it's more like a toy than a bicycle is. Like I would like compare the scooter to the skateboard, where it's both like a means of amusement and like a sport item and a viable mode of transportation. You know, I think it probably deserves to be there at some point as well, the scooter. Optimus Prime and the Turtles are a tough one, right? Optimus Prime and the Turtles are... I don't think they're as, like... Do you know what? I think He-Man's Law needs to apply to the Turtles. I have decided that it's called He-Man's Law now, by the way. I think He-Man's Law needs to apply to the Turtles in the same way it applies to My Little Pony, you know? Optimus Prime. Do you know what? Actually, yes. Do you want to know why? What for me as well, the Transformer, like He-Man and the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles and the My Little Pony, they're just a toy, right? They're just an action figure. The My Little Pony doesn't even move. My Little Pony isn't even articulated, you know? But as a toy, the design of the Transformer, you know, the fact that you can actually turn this robot into a vehicle, drive it around, you know, and turn it back into a robot and it shoots things or whatever. the ingenuity of that concept on its own is amazing. It's a fantastic feat of human creativity, as well as benefiting from He-Man's law. You know, they're selling insurance. Are they on those? Oh, are they on those Halifax ads now as well? Weren't there like Halifax ads with Top Cat in them? And are the turtles in Halifax insurance ads now as well? Is that what you're saying? We've got the phone now as well. I don't know what I'm going to do with the phone. The phone is going to be a tough one. Because, like, for me, the phone... Direct Line... Okay, so Halifax has Top Cat and Direct Line has the turtles. It's like Pepsi and Coca-Cola all over again. The phone is a difficult one, right? Because even though it's not per se a video game console, it is a toy. It has a toy functionality, again, for people of all ages. You see, like, for better or for worse, for better or for worse, you see babies playing with these things, tapping stuff and whatever, as a toy. You see adults, 50-year-old moms on the bus playing Candy Crush Saga or whatever, You see people playing all manner of things on phones now, People playing Pokemon Go, people playing whatever, So it's it is a toy, I think it has a huge place now as a toy. And for better or for worse, mobile gaming, something which started with, again, Snake, which I was only just earlier kind of exalting as being one of the most amazing, like, culturally significant video games of all time, Like, it started with your little phone that you played Snake on, and now you're at the point where you can play, like, games that look absolutely breathtaking on the thing, We have people using controllers on their phones. It's insane, and so I definitely think as a toy, I think it's deserves it at some point, because we're just at the beginning. I think we're just at the beginning of mobile gaming. For better or for worse, mobile gaming is here, and it's here to stay, and we'll just be seeing how it develops from here on out. So I think the phone, at some point, it will be in the Toy Hall of Fame, as a toy for the human race and for society, and that's where it is. So this is the list. This is the list. This is the tier list.